Okay, so Sport Plus. Oh yeah, you can hear that sound. I think I could beat that truck. Let's see what it can do. Oh dear God! Now, if you've been in the market for a Mercedes, you've probably come across the wording AMG in some places. So what is it? What is AMG anyway? What does it mean? What does it stand for? What's AMG Line? What's Mercedes AMG? Well, I'm covering all of that in today's video. But first, AMG Line. So when shopping for a car, you may see on certain models SE Sport or AMG Line and that sort of thing. Now this car here is AMG Line. Basically, AMG Line will give you sportier looks on certain things. So you have like these elements here giving you a bit more of a sporty look, upgraded grille, privacy glass sometimes included. Again, it does kind of vary, but you'll just have to double check the brochures or speak with Mercedes and they can obviously let you know what is on that particular car. However, other things on the interior of a car, AMG Line typically gives you sportier pedals, and then things like sportier seats, a flat bottom steering wheel and things like that. So it's basically just sportier looks all around. It doesn't add gadgets. Just bear in mind, if you're not based in the UK, there'll be other things like avant-garde from what I've heard. These again are just trim levels. They just kind of control and depict what the car looks like and how sporty it looks. That's AMG Line. What about Mercedes AMG? Well, Mercedes AMG actually stems back well over 50 years ago. Back to when two people who were a fan of motorsport, Hans-Werner Albrecht and Erhard Melcher, saw an opportunity while based in Grossersbach. They wanted the fastest and most powerful car at the time, which resulted in them tuning a Mercedes-Benz 300 SEL 6.8 litre, also known as the Red Pig due to its colour. And in that lies the secret to what AMG means. So the A and the M were the two founders, so you've got Albrecht and Melcher, and then the G of AMG is Grossersbach, which is the place. So Albrecht, Melcher and Grossersbach. Fast forward to today, and Mercedes AMG represent the high performance side of Mercedes-Benz with the fastest, the best sounding and most dynamic of all the Mercedes-Benz models out there. And you can find a Mercedes AMG high performance model in virtually every shape of Mercedes-Benz out there, even the electrics as well. And Mercedes-Benz have actually sent out an invite for me to come check out some of their high performance models. Now I won't be able to drive them all, but apparently there's about 10 there, so let's have a look. So guys, now as I mentioned, there are many models you can get in a Mercedes AMG engine. So this, for example, is the A35. Now a quick comparison between a Mercedes AMG vehicle and an AMG Line. Notice here on the very front, you'll have a slightly different grille and lots of AMG details everywhere. Notice the exhaust as well and the wheels, they're all slightly different, and even the quite nice spoiler on the back. In fact, putting these two next to each other, this is definitely one of my dream cars. Sadly, I couldn't quite afford an A35, but I've had to go with an A180 instead, just for day-to-day use. But dream car, absolutely one of these. Even when you're sat on the inside in here, you've got these like two screens here that when the engine's on or the ignition's on, they light up and you can control the modes on here and control all sorts of things. And this is one of the cheapest Mercedes AMGs you can get. There are loads of others, as you saw very quickly just a few moments ago. Sadly, won't get to try them all today, but I'll give you a little taster. So let's start with an A35, and this should have a thing called AMG Emotion Start. So if you hold one of the paddles and turn it on, ooh, it's very German, that kind of thing. I love it. Right, well, safety first. Let's put it in drive, and away we go. Now, one thing that changes as well with the driving dynamics of a Mercedes AMG is that not only is there more power, which is great, you know, this one's pretty powerful. All the stats for the A35 I'm going to put on the screen here for you to see. But you also get things like a faster gearbox, so it's a lot more responsive at changing gear. You've got, as I said, more power from the engine, louder exhaust, stiffer suspension, and all that combined in comfort mode allows you to do this. Oh, that sounds so good. And that is 60 right there. Oh, I wish I bought an A35 instead. That's the thing. They always put a smile on your face. Even the base Mercedes AMG will put a smile on your face. Man, I want one of these. And I will add, that was in comfort mode as well. So there's different modes here you can change and put in, like sport mode, sport plus mode, that sort of thing. Now, this car is only 381 miles at the moment, so I definitely don't want to take it too far. If you didn't know, with most Mercedes AMGs, they actually have to be run in because they are hand built. So a very cool thing about the engines is that a lot of them are hand built. Now this particular one isn't, but they still do have a run in period or breaking in new vehicle. Got a little message up here on the windscreen. But yes, some of them do have to be run in up to 1,000 miles. So obviously I do have to go a tad careful and respect it because this is not my car. Although I wish it was. But yes, this is the thing. This is just a Mercedes AMG A35. So how does it get better than this? Well, without going too crazy straight away, I want to show you the A45S. Now, if you jump into an A45S, wow, this is where things start to really accelerate. For one, this is, well, 421 horsepower. Let's put the stats up on screen so you can see. Ridiculously fast 0 to 60 time. And I didn't actually mention for the A35, which I've already given back, you actually get this kind of very nicely styled black key. There's only a few Mercedes-Benz models that actually get this kind of styled key, which is quite nice. Wish I had that as well. I wish I had a lot of things, especially when it comes to Mercedes AMG, because they sound incredible. Ooh, a couple of popples from the exhaust there. And this is over 1,000 miles as well. Well, as it is on public roads, we'll not be doing any race starts because, you know, we do have to be a little bit responsible. But at least we can test out how powerful this car is, and well, it's very powerful. Okay, so on the road, number one and the kind of first thing you notice is a lot firmer, and obviously there's a method in the madness for that. A car like this has to be firm to put the power down on the road. Now, compared with like my car, AMG Line, and the A35, yes, the A35 is firmer, but this is definitely a lot firmer than the 35. You can definitely feel it with all that kind of chassis strengthening and that sort of thing. Because of all that chassis stiffness, you can do this. Oh, that is blindly quick. Again, that was 60. One of you guys want to time that? That it's just so brutally fast. I said, one of the fastest 2-litre engines out there. Again, one thing I didn't mention is actually both cars do have a thing called 4MATIC. So in Mercedes, the four-wheel drive systems are called 4MATIC. So it's very similar to Audi's Quattro and then BMW's xDrive. And then there's 4Motion in Volkswagen and that sort of thing. So now for me, for a daily, I'd actually rather have an A35. One, probably because of a price point. I remember when I did the comparison video at a local Mercedes, I found that all the stuff that you want from a car is pretty much on the A35 as it is, but if you did just want all that extra power and you love the sound of an AMG engine, then yeah, go for a 45. This video so far has only been pretty much on an A-Class. So what happens if you do Mercedes AMG in something else? Well, Mercedes-Benz have got you covered. You can get Mercedes AMG engines in C-Classes to G-Wagons. That'll be a G63 with over 585 horsepower. Then there's SLs, there's like a convertible. Then there's even things like Mercedes AMG GT SE Performance. I know that's quite a mouthful to say, but that is another model as well. There's so many different models of AMG that you can get. So we'll have a look, see what Mercedes-Benz have got lined up for you next. This is the C43. Now notice first and foremost, this has a different number on the end of the model. So A35 we just did, A45, and then 43. Basically, the higher the number, the faster it is. I guess in kind of essence. There's also another one as well, 63, so you might see like G63 or C63 and that sort of thing. So this is not a hatchback, this one is a saloon. So this one, a little bit more room, more luxurious, but of course it has that power there as well. Now notice as well, if you look on the side, it also says electrified. Now this actually has mild hybrid technology, just like the A35, but this actually helps turn the engine off to save on fuel and obviously improve efficiency, but then also can give you a bit of a boost to make you go a little bit quicker right when you need it the most. So what's it like to drive? So yes, on the road, this is where Mercedes-Benz trickery kind of plays in. So Mercedes-Benz are very, very good at basically increasing the luxury on all the models. So as you go up through the range, you get more luxurious interiors and more leather in places and that sort of thing, less plastics. But you then kind of have this conflicting battle of increasing the suspension stiffness and that sort of thing for Mercedes AMGs. So you kind of have this battle which car manufacturers would always have, where they put like a high performance car in but then also make it more luxurious. And Mercedes-Benz just do it so well. So we're in the C43 here, and it's more luxurious than the other two, but is also just as fast at the same time. The pulling power of that, you can really feel that mild hybrid kick in where it just starts pulling on electric. Now this doesn't have like all electric driving, it's just more of a assists the engine and fills in the gaps of where like turbo lag would be and that sort of thing. It's so clever how they do it. Mild hybrid is just one of the kind of first stepping stones into what all manufacturers are actually doing and kind of eventually going all electric. So only time will tell. We have to see what they all do. Speaking of electric, Mercedes-Benz, I believe, also have here today their fastest all-electric car, which I think is going to be terrifying, but also fun, hopefully at the same time. Let's hope I can take it for a spin. This is the Mercedes AMG EQE 53 and it's one of Mercedes-Benz's fastest electric models. So they've allowed me to take this out today, and I've never driven the AMG version of this car before. So I'm really, really excited because on paper it looks absolutely amazing. Now, in case you don't know what the EQE is, basically Mercedes-Benz have about 8 to 10 electric cars out at the moment. The EQE is one of them. It's basically a smaller version of the EQS. But this is the AMG version of it, and yes, on certain models and specifications of Mercedes, you can get AMG versions of their electric range. I can't wait to try this one out. So this is it, guys. Mercedes AMG EQE 53. Foot on brake. Oh, it's like the surround sound. Kind of the sound was here and then it went over there. Cool. Well, let's just turn the fan down so we can hear the, well, I say hear the, there is no sound, it's electric. So, into drive. And away we go. Now this, in fact, actually I just remembered, this will have the sound experience. So this will be the sounds that the car can make. Obviously electric cars are completely silent, so optionally available on some cars you can have a noise that the speakers and things kind of make, so you can simulate like accelerating. So I will try that out in a minute, but this is God, this is pretty pokey considering I've only used about 20% of the power there. I can tell, just like with the others, that this is a bit firmer, again because obviously you need to be able to put the power down on the road. And yeah, you can feel it's just like a little bit firmer, a bit more planted on the road, which is obviously reassuring for something like this. So right now it literally just feels like a more solid, firmer EQE, which is kind of what I was expecting. But the power on this car, on paper, is insane. So let's see what this thing can do on this bit around here. Sport Plus. Oh yeah, you can hear that sound. I think I could beat that truck. Let's see what it can do. Oh dear God! Wow. Gee, I'm speechless. I literally don't know what to say. Wow. It's, do you know, I was looking at the percentage of the power. So what are we, like 30, 40, 50? 50% of the power is fast enough. This is literally, oh wow, it's so powerful. Who needs that much power? I've got to try that again when the road is clear. Oh my God, I wonder if there's a launch control in this car. Imagine what that's like. Obviously we can't really do that in this car because it's new, but... That is dangerous. That's dangerously fast. Cool. I know what's on my Christmas list. I wonder what else Mercedes have got here today. Okay, and for the final one today, does anyone want to pause the video right now and take a guess as to what this one is? Yes, that's right, it's the G63, which is Mercedes-Benz's most iconic car. The chassis itself has actually been the same since literally day one, and just stands out like no other car. Such a boxy square design, and just sounds amazing. That sounds good. Complete polar opposite to what I was just driving. So let's take this one out and see what this one's like. Safety first, because this thing I can only describe as a complete weapon. Not only can it go off-road, and sadly no, I'm not going to be doing that today either. Mercedes-Benz usually have dedicated off-roading courses for that type of thing. So maybe I might be able to do it in the future, you never know. But yes, this literally could, well, there's literally a field in front of me. I could literally just go straight that way. It can literally go where no other car can. I have actually, years and years ago, driven one of these on a quarry before. Literally in, not typically boulders and stuff, but places where, you know, a normal car would get stuck. The cool thing about the G63 is that certainly the newer ones, like this one, the suspension has been greatly improved, because they were just literally an off-road vehicle before, but now they're an on-road and off-road vehicle. So you have that same sort of comfort, even driving on the road as well, because traditionally before they were very, well, because of their boxy shape and so heavy, you kind of almost felt every bump, and you kind of needed to, because of the, you know, when you're off-roading you need to feel what's underneath. But now it's been greatly improved, which is good to see. But yes, they can also do this as well. So if I put this in Sport Plus mode, they just sound incredible. Oh wow, that V8. Each AMG that I always drive, and I've had the awesome luxury time of driving all these AMGs today, so shout out to Mercedes-Benz UK for arranging this day. Each AMG has like these kind of, it has its own character, you know, its own personality. No AMG drives the same, they're all different, and I know that's kind of obvious, but they just all have their own personality, and I just think it's so cool. I want them all. I literally love an entire garage of AMGs, but that would, I can't personally afford one, not yet anyway. One day I'll get a high performance car, and AMGs, they have such a growling sound. Apart from the electric, of course, but then they have their own kind of swing on things as well. And down comes the rain. Well, good job I'm in a G-Wagon, because it being four-wheel drive, it can literally do anything off-road. Not that I'm going off-road, but you know what our weather's like in the UK. I literally just pulled away from the car park a few minutes ago, and it was bright blue sky, sunny day, and now it's raining. Typical UK weather. Oh, bike and red car having a disagreement, should we say? Yep, down comes the rain. Well, shout out to Mercedes-Benz UK for arranging this day. As I mentioned, they are incredible. Wow, this rain is really coming down hard now. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video has given you some kind of insight into the Mercedes AMG world. As I said, there's so many different types. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, see you then.